Libya's opposition has declared itself a transitional government and appointed a prime minister as it seeks to topple Muammar Gaddafi from power in Tripoli. James Bays is in their eastern stronghold of Benghazi and has the latest on this story. James?
Yes, Anand, it's an important political development. There are important developments on the ground as well. But as you say, there is now going to be a transitional government with ministers and a prime minister. That prime minister is Mahmoud Jibril. He's best known so far, I think, on the international stage as one of those who went to see Nicolas Sarkozy, the French president, and succeeded in getting recognition from France. How is this all going to work? Let's find out more from Nisan Gouriani, who joins me now, one of the spokespeople for the Transitional National Council. Explain to me why you now have a transitional prime minister and a transitional government.
Well, actually, because the Provisional National Council is a legislative body, we need an executive body that would develop some kind of a structure to the new government, at least so to form his ministries, to get things running in the city, the daily basic daily needs of the country. We face a lot of challenges, and our challenges are only getting bigger. The country needs some kind of a structure that helps in running it and getting things under control.
You talk about the country, but you only control part of the country, eastern Libya. Aren't you now formalizing a split in the country?
No, definitely not. Our position has been very clear from the very beginning that Libya is one whole unit. Our capital is Tripoli and will forever be Tripoli, and this is what we are striving right now, to liberate the cities and the western part of the country, and Tripoli is our capital, and we would like to emphasize that over and over and over again.
Well, as we hear another funeral taking place behind us and more coffins coming into the square, tell us about how that battle is going on the ground from an opposition perspective.
Okay, the battles are actually, the strikes that had been carried out, all the military actions that had been carried out by the international coalition have been very helpful, have saved Benghazi actually from a genocide that would have been committed in Benghazi last Saturday, and that was, the whole street in Libya, in Benghazi especially, are very grateful to that intervention. Now the biggest problem that we are dealing with now, the issue is basically the incompatibility between the forces, the two forces. The armament of the other side of the Gaddafi troops are very modern, very heavy. They're using heavy artillery to control the cities and to bombard them from outside, from the fringes of the cities. But they are causing a large number of casualties as well as a big extent of demolition to the cities.
So are the Western powers doing enough? Would you like to see more bombing?
Well, definitely. I'm sure that they are doing enough according to a certain schedule that they do have, and we respect that very much. We still, feel that other cities like Misrata has been under siege for almost the past 3 weeks. The people there are holding on heroically, against these forces. And but daily there are casualties there due to the fact that the bombardment takes place from 11, 12, 13, 15 kilometers away, and it's the kind of equipment, military equipment that he has, that we really cannot stand against, except by weakening them through the strikes, and then the opposition forces will will initiate their advances.
Tell me a little bit more about Misrata, because that's in western Libya. It's an enclave, really, of the opposition that Gaddafi's forces surround. And how bad is the situation, particularly the medical situation?
Well, both. I would like to, whatever I say about Misrata, it does include also the city of Zintan. Zintan as well as Misrata, they're both under siege for a couple of weeks at least. The humanitarian conditions are really poor. They're very grave. They face shortages in basic needs, medication and food. We are trying in one way or the other to get any help there, but as you know, Libya is a very large area. The distance between here and Misrata is 800 kilometers. Finally, now, since yesterday, there has been a positive development in Tripoli, in Misrata basically. We heard that the port is under the control of the revolutionaries, the opposition forces, and thus we anticipate that something that can be brought in through the sea to Misrata. Now the grave situation is also in Zintan. Zintan are suffering. They're being put under siege from 3 different sides. They're being bombarded almost every day, and if I wouldn't want to exaggerate and say just about every hour, but they're being under attack from the forces of Gaddafi.
Nisan Gouriani, thank you very much for joining us here on Al Jazeera. A picture of the situation on the ground, particularly in those towns in western Libya surrounded by Gaddafi forces. From an opposition perspective, those are places where there are not independent journalists operating. We don't have very few pictures out of there, very little information on them.
Thanks, James.